Equal Justice with Judge Ebony Kate Williams. The atmosphere inside the courtroom was heavy with the weight of expectation, yet there was an underlying current of hope that only a place of true transition can provide. Behind the elevated mahogany bench sat a woman whose presence commanded immediate respect and a sense of profound fairness. Her nameplate, polished to a mirror shine, read Judge Ebony Kate Williams. She looked out at the gallery, her eyes reflecting a wealth of experience and a sharp, intuitive intellect. She often told those who entered her sanctuary of law that the only thing that truly mattered in this particular courtroom was how she perceived the truth. Her roots were deep and varied, stretching from the warm, soulful heart of North Carolina by way of the vibrant spirit of Louisiana. She carried with her the relaxed, composed nature of the West Coast and the sharp, undeniable edge of New York City. She was a tapestry of American experiences, woven together to serve the highest ideals of the land. The judge looked at a woman standing before her and asked if there was a problem. The woman shook her head, stating she had no problem at all. Judge Williams smiled softly, reminding everyone present that equal justice was fundamentally about the most important values of the country. It was about freedom and integrity. These were the milestones she strove for every single day she put on her black robe. She had decided to become an attorney and pursue the law because she wanted to be a voice for the voiceless. She understood that while a person might run their own household, once they entered the public sphere of legal accountability, the rules changed to protect the collective good. Her courtroom was a place for people from all sectors of life, including every race and every background, because that was the very definition of equal justice. The first case of the afternoon involved two young men who had once shared a living space, but were now divided by a broken television and a series of unfortunate events. Mark Ward, the plaintiff, stood on one side, seeking $425 for his destroyed property. On the other side stood Jonathan Green, who was countersuing for $1,550, claiming he had lost his livelihood due to the actions of his former friend. Judge Williams began by addressing Mark Ward, asking why they were in court. Mark explained that he was suing his former roommate for breaking his television. He described a scene that had escalated from a verbal disagreement into a physical scuffle. It had started after Jonathan returned home from a corporate event, accusing Mark of being responsible for his termination from a graphic design firm. The tension had mounted until they were pushing one another. In the heat of the moment, Mark was shoved into a coffee stand, causing the television to fall face first onto the floor, rendering it useless. Mark presented a receipt and a photograph of the shattered screen as proof of his loss. The judge turned her attention to Jonathan Green, seeking to understand the root of the anger that had led to such a confrontation. Jonathan explained that the conflict traced back to a simple act of borrowing a suit jacket. He had a retirement party for his company and needed to look professional. Mark had lent him a jacket from his own closet. The event was held at an indoor and outdoor venue, and when an unexpected rain shower began, Jonathan had gallantly offered the jacket to his boss to protect her from the weather. Later, when they moved back inside, Jonathan took the jacket back and shook it to remove the moisture. At that exact moment, a small bag containing marijuana fell out of the pocket and landed directly in front of his boss and several company executives. The courtroom grew quiet as the gravity of the situation became clear. Jonathan explained that he was a freelance graphic designer and that landing a full-time, permanent position was a rare and precious achievement in his field. He lost his job the very next Monday morning. Judge Williams expressed genuine empathy, noting that such opportunities were becoming even more difficult to secure with the rise of artificial intelligence. When Jonathan returned home that day, he found Mark sitting on the sofa, watching the very television that would soon be broken. He confronted Mark, asking why he had left illegal substances in a jacket meant for a professional event. Mark admitted to the court that he had purchased the cannabis previously and had forgotten it was in the pocket. He had been smoking on the balcony earlier that evening and was slightly inebriated when Jonathan asked for the jacket. In his haste to get back to his television program, he grabbed the first garment he saw and handed it over without checking the pockets. The judge pressed for more details on how the argument turned physical. Mark contended that Jonathan had been aggressive and that this was actually Jonathan's third warning at his job. He felt that while the incident with the jacket was unfortunate, it was not the sole cause of the firing. Jonathan admitted that he had indeed received 2 prior warnings, one for being late and another because a client felt he was not a good fit for a specific project. The incident at the party was simply the final strike. Judge Williams carefully considered the facts. She addressed the counterclaim first, deciding to dismiss it entirely. She explained to Jonathan that while the incident with the jacket was certainly the final straw, his loss of employment was the result of a cumulative history of professional shortcomings. He had to take responsibility for his own career trajectory. However, when it came to the primary claim, she found that Mark's negligence, though accidental, had set off a chain of events. But more importantly, she noted that Jonathan's aggressive physical response was not a proportional reaction. She ruled in favor of Mark Ward for the amount of $425, advising both men to take better care of their responsibilities and their friendships in the future. As the first pair departed, a new set of litigants took their places. Tom Frisk was suing his ex-girlfriend, Alicia Chin, for $95 related to the adoption of 2 cats named Pearl and Opal. More than the money, however, Tom wanted his pets back. He claimed that after he lost his job, Alicia had begun to tear down his character and eventually took the cats when they broke up. Alicia defended her actions by stating that she had been the one providing medical care and financial stability for the animals. She showed the court photographs of the 2 beautiful cats, explaining that she felt she could offer them a better life. The breaking point in their relationship had come when Opal, one of the cats, accidentally stepped on a nail and required emergency surgery. Alicia had taken an extra shift at a car dealership to cover expenses and asked Tom to pick the cat up from the vet. Tom had missed the appointment, claiming he had a job interview, but Alicia returned home to find him playing video games instead. Judge Williams looked at the adoption papers and saw that both names were listed. While she understood the emotional bond between a person and their pets, she explained that her legal remedy was limited. She could not force the return of the cats, but she could hold Alicia accountable for the financial contribution Tom had made toward their adoption. The judge ruled in favor of Tom for $95, expressing her wish that the situation could have been handled with more communication and less resentment. As the session concluded, Judge Ebony Kate Williams stood up, her presence a reminder that justice is not just about the law, but about the human stories that bring us all together. She hoped that those who left her courtroom would find a way to move forward with more integrity and a clearer sense of their own roles in the lives of others. The doors of the courtroom closed, leaving behind the echoes of resolved conflicts and the promise of a fairer tomorrow.